When the Japanese car manufacturers began to ramp up their production, they copied the British, and indeed they even used some rather pucker British names for their cars, such as the Cedric and the Sylvia. Now the Chinese are prepared to use British technology, but they're not that keen to be seen to be copying. In 2009, the SAIC company, Shanghai Automotive Industries Corporation, bought the LDV van company from Britain, including packing up one of their big production areas and moving it to China. But they are not saying that they are copying the British. Indeed, the LDV is one reason why they might try and distance themselves from that, because the L stands for Leyland. But now they have produced for export and world markets a dual cab utility. It is called the T60, the LDV T60. How does it go? Let's go and find out. SAIC says that the LDV's T60 has a muscular look that gives it a real presence on the road. It's typical of the segment, although I find the front grille to be a little bit over the top. But then again, most vehicles in this market sector seem to make the front grille large and prominent. That gives a tack-on look rather than having a sense of style. The vehicle is built on a full ladder chassis. The T60 comes with two model options, the Pro aimed at the trade market and the Luxe aimed more at the family who wants to have room for the kids and be able to put surfboards or other similar types of activity resources in the tray at the back. Both models have the same 2.8 litre turbo diesel engine, which is a good capacity, but the performance figures of 110 kilowatts and 360 newton metres of torque are not class leading. The maximum torque is achieved at a low 1600 revs, and it holds the maximum power over most of the rev range. However, the rev range is rather limited, but anything over 4000 revs per minute seems to be getting beyond its desirable operating conditions. This means that the engine is not greatly stressed, but equally it does not perform with any great gusto. You notice this particularly on hills. We were driving in the country going up a grade, not a huge hill, when the passenger suggested that we give it as much as we could in order to see how it goes. I said I was in fact already doing that and had been for the last 300 metres. It made you cautious to overtake on rural roads for fear that you would run out of room, although for some other drivers having enough room didn't seem to matter. The automatic gear change was acceptable but noticeable, and it seemed to hold top gear just a little too long and then change down a bit late. Perhaps this is a setting to try and achieve a maximum fuel consumption, which is rated at 8.8 litres per 100 for the manual and 9.6 litres per 100 for the automatic. All models have electric four-wheel drive selection with low range, and the Luxe is fitted with a rear differential locker. Neither model has a central diff, so if you are in four-wheel drive and trying to go around the car park, you can feel the tyres scrubbing. The turning circle, like many of these vehicles, is not great at 12.6 metres. We took the car on a range of rural roads outside the major regional city of Bathurst. They had had a bit of rain and they needed a bit more, but it is still a wonderful representation of Australia where the broad plains open up before you. It was also an area where utes are common. The vehicle comes with standard 17-inch alloy wheels. The theory is that the bigger they are, the better they look. Well, maybe. See, bigger wheels correspond with lower profile tyres, which are not ideal for this type of vehicle in handling the rough stuff or simply giving a reasonable, smooth ride on the highway. 17-inch wheels are about right. Positively, the T60 has a full-size spare. As far as the ride goes, the T60 was good on standard highways, but as you got onto the secondary rural roads, it became noticeably jarring on the bumps. Surprisingly, the Workhorse Pro model seemed to be a little better than the Lux, which contradicted the intent. SAIC are proud of the size of their vehicle when compared with the top-selling ute at the moment in Australia, the Ford Ranger. The T60 is rated with a 3-tonne towing capacity. The Pro manual has the biggest payload rating of 1,025 kilograms, but this reduces with the automatic gearbox and if you move up to the Lux model. The Lux automatic payload is 815 kilograms. One of the good points is that both models come with a standard plastic tub liner, which can cost up to $1,000 or even more as an option on some of the competitors. In the interior, you sit well in the T60, although the seats are a little flat and lack some sideways support. The great feature in the cabin is the 10-inch colour touchscreen that comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. With such a large screen, each of the buttons displayed are of such a good size that it becomes wonderfully easy and practical to use. The Pro gets cloth seats and the Lux gets leather, with front seats heated and electronically operated. While the seats in the back of this style of vehicle are never the height of luxury, the room is usually okay and the T60 is good. This vehicle has achieved a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. It does so with 6 airbags. Front and passenger, side airbags, roof curtain airbags that extend to the rear passenger compartment, electronic stability control, rollover movement intervention, hill descent control, hill start assist, driver fatigue monitoring, tyre pressure sensing, reversing camera and rear parking sensors. It does not have automatic emergency braking, which means that if it was tested in 2018 in this current configuration, it would not achieve a 5-star rating. Quite a number of vehicles are in this situation. Cruise control is standard, but it is not adaptive. Some years ago, we had in Australia a father and son team that sold new carpets and did their own television ads. The ads would typically have the son listing all the great features of the products, while the father kept saying, "Tell 'em the price, son."
Carpet, timber, vinyl floors. Son, tell 'em the price.
The price of the LDV T60 is the one thing you are sure to be told, probably many times, if you go into a dealership. For the retail buyer, the drive-away price for the base model Manual Pro is $30,516. Going up to the top-of-the-range Lux Automatic at $36,831. It gets better for business owners with an ABN number, where you can save a bit over $1,500 on the base model and nearly $2,000 on the top of the range. So, in conclusion, the Australian market for utilities, particularly dual cab models, has been booming. The LDV T60 is certainly capable to hold and tow a load, to have room for the kids and their gear, and to get you into the country at a steady pace. Many of its sales will be in urban areas where its tiring ride on the poorer rural roads will not be a problem. And it is certainly cheaper than the current top-selling models in the market, while still having some good features. It will capture some of the usual buyers, but may also tempt a few more people away from an SUV.